We are currently at Geely's 4D Experience Center to bring you a detailed and exciting look at the all-new Bin UL. This is our first time getting our hands on this car. And it has just arrived. We've just received the keys. And this is the production version of the Bin UL. We're eager to explore all its features and share our initial impressions with you. We're among the first to get a close look at this vehicle. And it's fresh off the truck. We've just got the keys, and this is the production model of the Bin UL. Before we dive into the details, let's start by opening the hood and taking a look at the engine. This is a crucial aspect for many car enthusiasts. And we're excited to show you what's under the hood. Okay, we've now opened the hood, and for most consumers, the engine is the most critical part of a car. Let's first examine the engine bay. The top has sound insulation cotton, which is a good sign. The engine itself is a 181 horsepower, 1.5-liter turbocharged inline-4 cylinder with all-aluminum direct injection. This engine represents the best of Geely's 1.5-liter offerings, and it's considered excellent both within Geely and nationwide. It's designed to run on 9-octane fuel, which is a plus for cost-conscious buyers. While the 2.0T engine in the Xingrui is more powerful and highly recommended, it requires 90-octane fuel. This 1.5T engine, however, uses 90-octane, making it more economical for the average consumer. It provides more than enough power, and the fuel consumption is also reasonable. Choosing 90-octane fuel will save you a significant amount on long-term running costs. For those buying a fuel car, this is a practical and efficient choice. Now, let's take a look at the cabin. The new front fascia design is more aggressive and understated than before. The headlight assembly is now similar to the more expensive Xinju model. While the Xinju has two light strips, this one has a single strip. The entire headlight assembly, including the LED headlights and automatic headlights, comes standard. Even the top-spec version of this car is priced at only 86,800 yuan, which is very affordable. This price not only gets you this front fascia but also significant upgrades to the interior. The interior upgrades are something we'll discuss later. As for the exterior, there are many small details that add to its sporty feel, such as the carbon fiber patterned mirrors and the black and white two-tone body. It also includes roof rails and a sunroof. These features are designed to give it a sporty, black and white aesthetic. The tires are A51 Chuvi tires from Atlas, sized at 2150/60R17. This is likely a lower spec version, as the higher spec model should have 18-inch wheels. The marketing for these tires is truly impressive. I recommend the higher spec version, which is more cost-effective, costing only 7,000 yuan more. The base model only has 2 airbags and lacks L2 autonomous driving features. For just a few thousand yuan more, the additional airbags and L2 features are well worth the price. Trust me, go for the higher spec model. It also includes other additional features that make it a better value overall. It's a significant upgrade for a small price difference. Let's take a look at the Mengshi version. The upper part is made of soft-touch material with a textured pattern, while the lower part is hard plastic, followed by leather. You can see the progress that domestic car manufacturers have made in the interior craftsmanship of cars in the 70,000 to 80,000 yuan range. However, if you spend an extra 10,000 to 20,000 yuan, these areas would likely be covered in leather. They have to consider costs, so some areas remain hard plastic. The leather is used in areas that you frequently touch or lean on, which is acceptable. It also features automatic windows and a wrapped fog light design, which is quite well done. Now, let's look at the interior. There are a few details to point out. The design of the instrument panel, and the overall interior has been updated. The small screen is now a popular square design, and it includes a sun visor, which is better than many models that lack this feature. Previously, some viewers asked why I didn't mention the screen on the Xingrui. Most car manufacturers are now switching to this square screen design. While non-standard screens may look more integrated, square screens offer more benefits, especially for future OTA updates and displaying more information. If you're just looking for a traditional driving experience, non-standard screens might be more visually appealing. However, square screens are more practical and versatile for modern car features. The non-standard screens on older models like the Xingrui might not receive future OTA updates. Manufacturers can't create unique OTA versions for every small screen. However, with this new square screen, if the same screen is used across a series, OTA updates are more likely. I believe this is a good change. Using this type of screen is not a problem. In fact, it's better than having a digital screen on the sides with a small screen in the middle. This full LCD screen is a significant improvement. The primary purpose of the instrument panel is to display sufficient data, which this screen does well. Of course, everyone has different preferences. If you don't like this design, you can choose not to buy it. You can opt for traditional screens instead. The biggest highlight of this update is the use of the Flyme Auto system. This is our first time accessing this interface. Flyme Auto is a significant upgrade for low-end car systems, offering a complete step up in performance and features. It includes features like iCar and CarLink. If you use a Meizu phone, you'll find it even better. Many people mention that it uses a 102 chip. While a 8155 chip would be better, the 102 chip is sufficient for this class of car. Given the current geopolitical situation, 8155 or 8295 chips might become less available. I hope domestic chip manufacturers will step up their efforts. We've tested several cars with the 102 chip, and they perform well in practical use. The 102 chip is perfectly adequate for everyday use, although the 8155 would be superior. However, consider that other models in this class still use basic screens or dual screen setups. This system is a significant upgrade. Let's look at the lower console. It has a one-button start and supports remote start, which is a great feature. It also includes a control panel for the air conditioning, emergency buttons, mode selection, front defogger, and rear defogger. There are two types of ports, one for data and one for charging, along with a place to put your phone. I particularly like the 3-level adjustable cup holders. This is a great design because it can accommodate various sizes of cups, from large sodas to milk tea and coffee cups. The adjustable design is very practical for everyday use, especially with the larger cup sizes that are common now. If you're driving alone, you can use one cup holder, and have space for a second phone. There's also space for tissues. The design is simple, but very convenient. Below, there's a small gear selector, a P button, an auto park button, and mode selection buttons, all of which are physical buttons, which is a plus. The panel is piano black with leather trim and yellow stitching. There's also a large armrest storage box, which is also leather covered. Inside, there's a small storage compartment, big enough to hold about 5 cans of soda. The intelligent cockpit of this car is a significant upgrade. Previously, you wouldn't find a car with an intelligent cockpit and system in the 80,000 yuan price range. Now, you have it. This feature is standard across all versions, including the base model we're testing. However, I highly recommend the higher spec version, priced at 86,800 yuan, which includes 4 airbags, while this one only has 2. The extra airbags and L2 features are worth the upgrade. The steering wheel is modern and features thumb rests at the 6 and 9 o'clock positions. All the buttons are physical. The higher spec version also includes L2 autonomous driving features, which is a great addition. It also has AEB active braking. Now, let's adjust the front seat to the correct driving position and take a look at the back. Although this model uses an older suspension setup, the interior space is quite good. We've reviewed the older model, and the L version isn't much bigger, but the rear space, including the headrests, features 3 standard headrests. Since this is a production model, we won't open it up. The overall interior space is sufficient for most consumers. There's about 2 to 3 fists of legroom, which is quite generous. The seat cushion length is also decent. The leg support is about 2 fingers, which is acceptable. Because it's a fuel car, the front can be tucked under, making the seat cushion comfortable. The wraparound feel isn't as strong as some other models. The headroom is also good. I'm 0.72 meters tall, and there's still about a fist and a finger of space. The rear space is well designed. There are 2 independent air vents and a Type E port. The front seats are pushed all the way back, which makes the space look smaller, but the actual space is quite generous. Let's take a look at the top. The sunroof is a small one in the front, while the top spec version has a panoramic sunroof. There are 2 LED lights in this area. There are also hooks for hanging clothes or bags, which is a nice touch. While hanging a milk tea might be a bit much, having hooks is always useful. Now, let's check out the trunk space. The trunk has a sunshade, which is becoming less common. The sunshade can be hooked up here, allowing it to lift automatically when the trunk is opened. There are 2 new wipers. The trunk space is quite large, even larger than the trunk space of the Xingrui. There's also a spare tire, which is rare these days. The trunk space is sufficient for most consumers, capable of holding about 4 20-inch carry-on suitcases. If you remove the cover, you can fit even more. For a fuel car of this size, the space is more than adequate. There are also small storage compartments. The car looks quite good and retains the Bin's signature quad exhaust design, although the exhaust is not functional. It's a very impressive design with a matte silver finish. This car has always been interesting, especially when it first came out, as it was the only car in its price range with a quad exhaust. This concludes our static review of the Geely Coolray L. They don't have a test drive car available yet. We'll bring you a detailed test drive experience once a test car is available. The trunk has a sunshade, which is becoming less common. The sunshade can be hooked up here, allowing it to lift automatically when the trunk is opened. There are 2 new wipers. The trunk space is quite large, even larger than the trunk space of the Seagull or Dolphin. It's more similar to the Cingru's trunk space, or even a bit larger. There's also a spare tire, which is rare these days. The trunk space is sufficient for most consumers, capable of holding about 4 20-inch carry-on suitcases. If you remove the cover, you can fit even more. For a fuel car of this size, the space is more than adequate. There are also small storage compartments. The car looks quite good and retains the Bin's signature quad exhaust design, although the exhaust is not functional. It's a very impressive design with a matte silver finish. This car has always been interesting, especially when it first came out, as it was the only car in its price range with a quad exhaust. This concludes our static review of the Geely Coolray L. They don't have a test drive car available yet. We'll bring you a detailed test drive experience once a test car is available. We hope you enjoyed this initial look at the vehicle, and we look forward to sharing more with you soon.